Hello, everyone. My name is Nicole. I am UpStack Social Media Specialist, and I'm so excited to introduce today's session. And it is all about how improving the tools and processes around your company's documentation can upgrade your remote team. I feel like we've all experienced the miscommunication or confusion that can arise when things aren't documented well, especially like new projects, new team members, onboarding. So many important things that are essential to a company. And when that's not documented well, it can be very bad, especially in a remote team. So today's session with Daniel, who's our head of community, is all about helping managers solve this issue. Welcome, Daniel. How are you?
Thanks, Nicole. Hey, everyone. Yeah, I'm happy to be here to discuss about a bit information architecture and organizing documentation. It's, let's say, a big activity that I like, and I'm trying to implement it in many ways in our work day, because looking back on trying to understand what is information architecture, we're using it daily, from how we're organizing our dishes in our closet, or how we are organizing our books on a bookshelf. It's all about information architecture. Yeah, it's a fancy word, can be scary, but in the end, it's something that can be done naturally by everyone. So let's go to the first slide and try to understand what is information architecture. On short, the information architecture is a practice on deciding how to manage parts of something to make them understandable. So on a digital situation or a work environment situation, we're trying to make information findable, understandable, and structured. So everyone that we're going to use that information can access it and understand it easily. So we're trying to make it in a way that even if you're not a specialist on that field, you can understand what is happening in that field or in that department. Going next on our next slide is how we are creating this information architecture. And we have three parts, three main areas, or three main focus points. One is ontology, what we mean when we say what we say, for sure. The other one is taxonomy, how we order things. And the last one is choreography, how everyone is using that information in that setup. So importantly, we understand easily how information architecture is created, is used in a let's say in a theoretical setup. But we can go a bit further with the next slide and try to understand how we can organize things. And this is something that most of us, let's be fair, every one of us is using in a one way or another. So we have the latch system. It was created by Richard Paul Urman. It's an American architect and graphic designer. He coined the term information architecture back in the 90s. And with his system, we have, let's say, 5 categories or ways to organize information, stuff, pieces, you name it. First one is on location. So you organize information or pieces on a location basis. The other one is alphabetical, like books or names in a list. The other one is time. So you're using time as a criteria to organize information. This can be used, for example, in invoicing. You put last year invoices on 2021 and this year invoices in 2022 on January 1st, February, and so on and so forth. Another one is category. So, for example, working with the same topic of invoicing, you pull, for example, invoices for buying stuff for your house and invoices used for buying stuff for your office. or for a company, invoicing for office-related expenses or travel-related expenses. And the last one is a hierarchy. So you organize information in a hierarchical way, where let's say the most important is on top and the least important is at the bottom. That this way to organize information can vary from company to company, from different setups you have in your department, your company, or your, let's say, field of industry. On short, this is what information architecture is. It can be something scary, something complicated, but in the end, we're using it without knowing it. And it's just a name for something that we're doing constantly. And for example, let's say in a community department or a marketing department, you have this kind of structure created in a document. For example, let's take for example a task manager sheet. You have, let's say, on the left, the backlog or the ideas field, where you put all new ideas you have in mind to keep them organized in a way that you can come back to them at a later point. You have in progress, something that you're working now. Next one can be something that needs in editing, something that needs edited. Maybe it's a video, it's a transcript or a illustration. You have, let's say, for example, ready for publish. So you have the image, you have the text for the blog, you have the video done, but you need a final decision when to publish or how to publish or on what network to publish. And let's say the final one is completed when everything is published, everything is okay, everything is checked, and you finish that task. This can be done in 4 or 5 steps, or for example, in a development situation, you have more steps in between. So you have, let's say, the big backlog, and you have what you're focusing now in a sprint for 2 weeks or 1 month, and you have different kind of steps in between, something like bugs, or something like after you deploy that code for that change in your product, you need to check it first on your servers, on your machine, to make sure that everything is okay. And after that, you're going to publish to the end user. And maybe after that, you're going to have another field where you gather the feedback from the user and you try to understand what you can change on the next iteration so you can make that product better. So we're using in different ways and different scenarios. And I'm guessing the most important thing is to not be scared about the whole structure and the whole idea, and to go back to the roots. So we're going to move to the final slide, where we have a few tips and tricks. So the tips and tricks. Let's say we have three main important points. First one is to understand the use of the documentation. For what we're going to use, who's going to use it, how is going to use it, how often. You need, for example, in our example with the marketing document about tracking your tasks, do you need to record there all the discussion you had about changes or not? Do you need to record the, let's say, illustration variants made by your designer or not? So this is something that you need to check with the team, with the people that are using it, and try to see what information you need at hand every day so that document is easy to use and is not cluttered by a lot of information that you probably don't need in a daily basis. Because we're discussing about talking with your team, the second one, second topic or a tip is to define the process. Map out the steps of the process. And the best way to do it is with pen and paper. Even if in a remote setup, you can start jotting ideas down on a piece of paper, make a photo, share it with the team. They can do the same. And after that, you can come together in a call and put everything in one final document, like a Notion or Coda or Asana or something that can be used for this. I'm guessing, for example, Google Sheets can be used as a tracking system. Depends what your team is using and what they are familiar with. One idea about the pen and paper is that it's distraction free. You don't have social media there. You're just focusing on the process. You're just you with your thoughts, and the whole process of moving your information from your brain through the muscle and hand onto the paper is going to give you a satisfaction and a clarity on what we're doing instead of just typing information on a digital screen.
I think that's all you have today, right, Daniel?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm guessing that's all we have today. Yeah.
And now for the questions. I think that was all really useful information, Daniel. Thank you. I think it's always more difficult for people that might have only been used to certain tools in their company, and then they start their own company or they found their own business and they have no idea how the basis of organizing everything is. And this was a really good explanation of that background, especially how to look at organizing from the top bottom. So I really appreciated that. And I know there's so many options out there. It could get overwhelming, especially for a team that wants to adopt something new. So from your experience, what tools have you found have been particularly the best that you've used for documentation purposes?
Yeah, that's a good question. We can, let's say, take a step back, and before choosing a tool, we need to, like I said, we need to look at the process. So every tool is having a lot of features or have some kind of limitation. It's natural. So you can't have all you want in one place. In the moment you understand the process, you know what you need and you know what you don't need. Going from that, you can choose the right tool that can help you truly to move forward on your task or your planning of everything. For example, we at UpStack were using Notion for tracking information, activities, keeping organized our, let's say, archive and databases. My personal choice would be, let's say, Coda, because Coda comes with a new layer of using or giving more option on using databases and tables and using big data. Looking back at what we're doing at UpStack, for example, Notion is a better choice for us because we're not using that much interconnectivity with big information. We're using that on the classic way, like maybe everyone is using Google Sheets or Microsoft Suite. Can be choosing a tool can be maybe difficult because you need to make sure that every team, every member of the team has the same experience with that tool. You need to make sure that tool is not something niched for only one way to do things, and you need to have the liberty to customize it, because not every tool is created equal.
Thank you. And then I know even switching from Coda to Notion was a bit of a challenge. So what tips do you have for people that want to maybe move in between tools, like from an old one or especially an outdated system to a newer system? How would a leader motivate their team members to wholeheartedly like accept the new tool if they're like particularly used to something else?
Yeah. I was a big fan of Coda, but on the same time, I understood their limitation from what we're using and what we're needing on a daily basis. And even if before, let's say, I was a big fan, and I am a big fan, I took a step back and trying to understand the other people who I'm working with to see if the Coda, for example, or other tool is perfect for them, or can be used in a way that is easy to use and is not creating unnecessary friction on opening stuff, recording information, or moving data from one place to another. One advice would be talk with the people who are going to use that tool, have discussions, take a trial version, use it for 1 month, 2 months, make some mock-up documentation there. Try to use it in parallel at the beginning with what you're using currently, and see how you can improve the process and how that tool can help you organize everything better. After you try it and you discuss it with the team, as a leader or as a manager, you need to be there for them with questions, to answer them to their question, and to offer feedback and solution to different kind of moments when they're going to be confused on how to use it and how much they can change or customize. And I know it can sound a bit micromanaging, but you need to remind them to use it and to get feedback from them on why they are not using it, and try to improve, because maybe sometimes it's just, I don't know, a step in the process that is creating friction on the whole process of using that tool.
Got it. And then let's say, just as an example, what if there's a new team member who's getting used to a new tool but isn't quite sure how to organize their daily tasks? Do you have any tips for them? Or how like you would organize just like the tasks you have to do each day?
Yeah. Everyone I saw in UpStack, for example, I saw a lot of different ways to organize your daily task or your day. Some people are using Google Calendar for reminders, or besides call, for example. Some people me, for example, I'm using pen and paper. I'm having my first to-do list drafted there, and next step is to move it in a digital to-do list where the rest of the team from community can see what I'm working on or what I have to do on to-do list this week or next month. Probably the best solution is to have a discussion with the new hire, or let's say already old hire in the company, and see what are the blockers. Is the tool? Is the way it's showing, for example, on a web browser or a mobile app? Is the process too complicated? Is to specialize for a new hire? And you try to find the middle ground and find a solution that can work for everyone. What is important to remember about these tools? They are just tools. Nothing is set in stone. and they are something, let's say, a live document. I mean that they can be edited, they can be changed, they can be deleted. You can start all over again because they're gonna evolve with you and your team.
Got it. And then, so if someone uses the pen and paper method, like you mentioned, how does that relate to if people want more? If people want a tool that also encompasses the responsibility of helping them manage their time, maybe? Do you have any advice on how people can use a tool to do that, or do you stick with like a normal timer method?
Yeah, good questions. It's something that I'm guessing everyone is battling with. What I saw on my use of pen and paper is the fact that I'm taking the time to look over the past notes and the past calls and the past ideas jotted down. It's creating a clearer sense on what to do because you're moving information, let's say, from a page to another, and you're trying to structure it. And after you have that structure, let's say, from the beginning of the page until the end of the page, you can prioritize what is more important. Because the idea, one of the mantras we have around the productivity is that 20% of your work need to deliver 80% of the benefits of the tool or the product you're doing. So you're trying to find those activities that can move forward your big strategy or your company, your department, and creating value for the rest of the team and for the end user or the product or the client. Having this let's say moments with you and your to-do list can give you clarity and can help you see what is more important, because you don't need to remember everything, and it's unnatural because you're consuming let's say brain energy for something that can be jotted on a piece of paper. So doing this, you can see more clearly what you need to do, and the next step can be going on a, let's say, a shared to-do list with the department or the team, and you can see what everyone is prioritizing, and you can see if you have overlap with other member of your team and not work double for the same thing.
Got it. That was really helpful. Thank you. I am all out of questions, but thank you again so much, Daniel. This was all very helpful, and I will be uploading this to the UpStack YouTube channel for everyone to view. And thank you again so much. It was lovely having you.
Thank you for having me. Bye bye.